All right, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a little something different. Just kind of talk to you guys, give you my opinion on Indian motorcycle. If you guys have been following the news, you see that Indian motorcycle is sold. So I'm just going to give you a perspective from a older Harley Davidson rider and a Generation X perspective. So Polaris sold Indian motorcycle to a private equity group, Carolwood. Indian Motorcycle Group was 7% of Polaris sales. So really wasn't a big percentage. They did more on off-road items like snowmobiles and side-by-sides. That was their biggest market share. So this new Carolwood group is a real estate group. They have two principal owners, and I think that they're under 30 years old. So hopefully they're motorcycle riders, or they will become motorcycle riders because they're going to have a whole factory full to choose from. So this private equity firm hired a new CEO for Indian. He's going to run Indian. And it seems like it should be some good news. He did come from Rumble On, which is a used motorcycle website. You can buy used motorcycles. He also ran Vance and Hines, which is a premium exhaust company. And he had 26 years in upper management at Harley Davidson. So that seems like he knows some insider tips and tricks, and should be good news for Indian. A little information on U.S. motorcycle sales. They are all down. The numbers are down for the U.S. There's not a lot of sales for new units going on in the United States. There's not a lot of younger riders coming out, and the new models are just very, very expensive for something like this for a weekend toy or a commute every once in a while. It's a lot of money. And the younger generation of riders, they don't have the money, or they're using it for other things. They're just not really leaning towards motorcycles. So just a little numbers comparison. Harley Davidson sold last year 120,000 units, and Indian motorcycle sold about 30,000 units. So big difference in sales for both of them. And those are actually both a decline from the previous year. So every year it just gets a little bit less and less. So that's not a good sign for like these big baggers, that style of bikes. Not a good sign here in the US. So I'm actually optimistic about the news. This firm looks like they invest in buildings or their property, and they actually improve them and make money. So hopefully they can do the same thing here with Indian, make them a standalone company. And I would really like for them to take a little more of the shares from Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson's been number one for so many years. You know, if they could just bump up from 30,000 to maybe 40 or 50,000, it'd be a little more competitive. And I think that would be good for both companies. I really like the style of the new Indians. I actually went to a local dealership and brought this with me and thought about trading it in for a Springfield. I really like that style. It's kind of equivalent to the Harley Davidson Road King, but I think it has that awesome front fender, that Indian headlight, and it's just a really sharp-looking bike. It was still a lot of money, and I think I would probably just end up keeping this motorcycle and just adding an Indian to the fleet. So my particular motorcycle is a 2007 Electric Glide Standard, and it's the entry-level bagger. It does have a full fairing and your full-size saddlebags. It just is radio delete and a lot of void of chrome, like the engine and all that stuff. But you could buy a lot of that and add to it. But that's why I kind of bought this, because there are so many used Harleys out there that I got a really good price on this. And I'm 45, so I'm Generation X. And this was a time that I was looking for something used. I looked at some of the new stuff, or even a couple years old. It was just for something for the weekend to play with. I rode sports bikes when I was younger, and now this probably 15-year gap, I was looking for a nice cruiser, and I found this thing here, and it was a great price. The new stuff, just They look good. They got a lot of options, but the price to go in debt and make a monthly payment, I couldn't do it. So just thinking of the younger generation to do that, to pay that premium price, it's not really happening. So a couple of things that Harley Davidson got right. When I went and looked at some used bikes, I did look at some Victories. They're really sharp. They look good. I did look at some Indians, but the value was really high on those. And then the Harley Davidson, there's so many out there, so many years that the prices were good. The number one thing about the Harley, though, that sold me was the sound. I mean, nothing sounds like a Harley Davidson. It is the best. I think maybe 10 years ago they tried to patent the sound, but they wouldn't let them do it. But the sound is number one. That feel and hearing it, shifting gears and everything. Harley Davidson has that beat. Also the style. They kind of highlight the motor, the engine on this. So that's a huge point where Victory, Indian now is doing that a little more now with their chrome, kind of like their flathead or knucklehead style valve covers. But the Harley Davidson, just that style, that look, kind of highlights the motor, and it just is like kind of a tough, raw looking motorcycle. So I think they do have Indian beat on that. So finally, I like to say that I wish Indian a whole bunch of success. I hope they do better. I hope their sales are better, and I hope there's some good competition between them and Harley Davidson. We need some new riders to enter, because otherwise there's going to be a whole bunch of used motorcycles, and that's all we're going to be left with. The innovation, all the new stuff, the fun, exciting things are just gonna stop. So hopefully they succeed, and Harley makes better motorcycles, but at a lower price point. There needs to be some more entry-level bikes. And then, when you get older, you can get a full dresser or a CVO or something like that. But there needs to be a little more options for a decent price. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, the whole motorcycle industry and how it's moving forward. And just a little bit about myself. Now I'm a little bit older and can afford something, but it still is just like a weekend toy, or I do take it to work and stuff sometimes. But to make a payment or something on a motorcycle, an extra vehicle, and full coverage insurance, that's a lot to ask for. So if it was more affordable, I really think more people would get into it. So my final thoughts on just motorcycles in general, especially this one here: the sound, the feel, the freedom of the road, listening to that motor, shifting gears, the full view, you could see everything all around you. I mean, there's nothing like it. It clears your mind. You're out there on the road. You got to totally pay attention to your surroundings, what's going on, looking ahead, your turns. So it really clears your head and clears your mind. And to me, it's relaxing. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And hopefully some of these younger people could just experience that and get them hooked on it and want to continue to grow the motorcycle market. So, all right, let me know what's your opinion. Thanks for watching. Sold. Polaris sold. What the hell? Can't get this straight.